In today's video, I want to highlight a brand new free MMORPG that's coming to the PlayStation 4 this summer, and it looks pretty good, so I want to highlight the game Caravan Stories. A game that's been out in Japan, but will finally be making the transition to North America later this year. Castlevania Anniversary Collection will be launching on May 16th, and we got the full lineup announced for that collection. If you're a fan of Castlevania and the older games in particular, this is one to definitely keep an eye on, and it's going to be priced very well. And you're getting quite a few games with the collection as well, so we'll run through that. Also, The Division 2 has been one of the most compelling multiplayer experiences of the year. We were expecting to get the next major update soon this month, actually. However, it has been delayed, and with that delay also includes that the first raid has been delayed. So that is a little bit of a bummer. However, The Division 2 has already been a rather engaging experience, so I can wait a little bit for the first raid, but nonetheless, we'll go over that. And Left Alive, one of the most disappointing games of the year. I don't think it's hyperbolic at all to say that, but it is getting a pretty reasonable update. Square Enix is adding a new casual difficulty, which is actually pretty important because one of the issues of Left Alive was from a gameplay standpoint and the spiking difficulty and the unforgiving difficulty at times that made the game rather unplayable at times. So with the new casual difficulty, hey, that'll make the game easier to play through. And it actually does have a pretty good story, so I'll talk a little bit about that at the end of this video. First up, the PlayStation blog has an in-depth post on Caravan Stories, which is launching in North America this summer on PlayStation 4. The director of Caravan Stories, Masahiko Takeuchi, said this, quote, "We are proud to announce that Caravan Stories, a top-rated MMORPG game from Japan, is coming to PlayStation 4 in North America this summer. Begin your journey in a never-ending fantasy world across many different races in a free-to-play game. Discover vast open prairies, mystical forests, as far as the eye can see, barren lands covered in rocky outcroppings. There are many beings living in the fantastic world. Those who fly, those who walk, those who leap, and those who prowl. Form bonds with many creatures living in this land from the back of your magical fortress, the Caravan. Together, challenge the mysterious enigma, the greatest enemy of all, and make allies with over 100 different species of beasts to be tamed to build up your team and explore new lands. When it comes to battle style, the game touts co-op, PvP, or solo. Play it your way. There's no wrong way to play. And as far as the races go, there's a litany and a variety of different races, including the orc, the tough in flesh and fierce, will to battle, the elf, watchers of the forest, prideful of their magical abilities, the human are in there as well, generally industrious and daring. Their zealous self-temperament won't allow them to walk in the shadows of any other races. The Gessi, a race composed of humanoid beasts. There's the dwarf, short in stature but fairly tough craftsmen who take pride in their work. In addition to the main story explored by the player's avatar, the unique stories possessed by each of the over 100 heroes will be connected like a puzzle piece to unleash the mystery of the world. So get ready this July and join in on the grand adventure of Caravan Stories. The game has been received pretty well over in Japan, and it's been out since 2017. It is going to be a free-to-play MMORPG, so the free-to-play offerings on the PlayStation 4 continue to expand, and this one being a Japanese F2P, we don't see a lot of those. Should be pretty exciting to see this game make its transition over here to the States. We'll keep an eye on the game, but again, it is scheduled for release sometime in Japan, but we'll keep you posted with updates. Next up, Castlevania is getting yet another collection. The Castlevania Anniversary Collection will be launching on May 16th. This one having a few more games than the last collection. However, these games are considerably older. Again, it'll be dropping May 16th for $19.99. And it'll be available digitally on the PlayStation 4, and what you'll be getting is Castlevania, that's the 1987 NES game. You'll get Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest, another NES title. Castlevania The Adventure, that's a Game Boy game. Castlevania 3 Dracula's Curse, that's an NES game. You'll get Kid Dracula, you'll get Castlevania 2 Belmont's Revenge, you'll get Super Castlevania 4, and you'll get Castlevania Bloodlines rounding things out. It also includes a bonus book extra such as an interview with Adi Shankar, one of the producers of the Castlevania animated series. And all of that will again be available for $19.99. Will be interesting to see how the trophies are dispersed in these games. I highly doubt it'll have a platinum trophy for each of those games. Who knows if it'll even have a platinum trophy altogether. But considering there's, what, 8 games in total? Yeah, 8 platinum trophies for $20 would be a bit too much, but nonetheless, these are some classic games, and yes, they're not going to be up everyone's alleys given the visual style, and given how old they are, given that they are a little bit more challenging than games released today. They are going to be a little bit off-putting to some. However, Castlevania is still such a compelling franchise, and I feel like a lot of people did check out Symphony of the Night when it came to PlayStation 4, so with this Anniversary Collection, I don't know if it's going to resonate as much considering none of these games are quite as iconic as Symphony of the Night, but nonetheless, given that you're getting 8 games for $19.99, I would say that's a pretty good buy, and we know that Konami is going to be putting out a couple of other collections as well, so that is pretty exciting. I know Konami's not everybody's favorite publisher with everything that went down with Hideo Kojima, but nonetheless, I can still have some appreciation towards Castlevania, and with the Anniversary Collection, you're getting some of the older games in the franchise, and for those of you that want a nostalgic trip back to the 80s and 90s, this will be a pretty good way to do so. Next up, The Division 2 has been one of the most compelling multiplayer experiences of the year. I really thought it was going to be a battle between this and Anthem in seeing what game really wins out in terms of the best multiplayer offering in early 2019. Of course, Anthem, not everybody's favorite game, but The Division 2 has turned out really well, and unlike The Division, which I feel like released as an okay experience but got really good by the time Ubisoft was done with it, The Division 2 has launched as a very good game right from the get-go, and you have to bear in mind that this is another game that Ubisoft is going to stay committed to with updates and everything like that. So to see what The Division 2 is going to come over the course of the next year or so, we've already got their roadmap detailed out. There is a lot of potential here for The Division 2 to become one of the best multiplayer experiences of the generation. I don't think that's too much of a stretch to say something like that. However, unfortunately, the next major update for The Division 2 has been delayed. It was supposed to go live on April 25th. However, now it'll instead drop sometime next month. Now, the big thing about this update was the fact that it was going to introduce The Division 2's first raid. The raid was called Operation Dark Hours, billed as the biggest challenge to date. It'll have 8 players teaming up, but unfortunately, we won't be getting it at the end of this month. Rather, we'll be getting it sometime in May. We don't even have an official date for it to be dropping in May, but hopefully it comes sometime early in May rather than later in May. If you guys don't know, The Division 2 has a slew of content planned for the next year or so, and you can get the 1-year pass, which is $40, and it is included with the Gold Edition and the Digital Ultimate Edition. That grants players 7 days of early access to upcoming episodes, and it also instantly unlocks access to the specializations as they come out. It will also offer 8 classified assignments that tell players more about what happened to Washington, D.C., exclusive cosmetics, and more in-game activities. However, the majority of the major updates will be available to players that just buy the base game, so that's great as well. And I'm really excited to see how The Division 2 evolves over the course of the next year, so unfortunately, the first raid won't be playable until next month. And lastly, here's a game that I talked quite badly about after its release. It was one of my disappointing games of the year, and I talked badly about it because I was excited for it. I had hoped that Square Enix was going to deliver with a brand new IP. Unfortunately, Left Alive left a lot to be desired, but now Square Enix is actually releasing a major update for the game. They're introducing a new casual difficulty. This is through a brand new update. And this is actually pretty important because one of Left Alive's major issues among its litany of issues was the fact that it had a lot of difficulty spikes and the game became a little bit too unfair. It's not the case of like Sekiro, where the game is challenging. It was promoted as being an incredibly challenging experience, and at the end of the day, I would classify that game as fair. Left Alive at times really seemed like an unfair game, and was actually off-putting with all the different difficulty spikes. However, with the new casual difficulty, you are going to be able to run and gun your way through the game, and the game actually does have a pretty interesting story. So if you want to go through and play the game and experience the story, that's not a bad idea. Now, I would not say drop $60 on the game. This is a game you wait until it hits the bargain bin for, say, south of $20. Probably even cheaper than that. Honestly, the ideal price for like Left Alive, it would be like $15, and honestly, I could see it hitting that price by the end of the year. Given the fact that there are so many great games coming out, Left Alive is a title you can definitely wait on. However, the fact that it does add a new casual difficulty, if you had a modicum of interest in the game and you were put off by all the stuff that was said about it, hey, when it gets super cheap, definitely don't be dropping $60 on it, don't be dropping $40 on it, hell, don't be dropping $30 on it, but say $15 or less. At that point, then Left Alive might be a pretty cool look. However, it still does have a lot of issues visually. It's not all too impressive. The story, while interesting, it's not the best thing we've ever seen, but there was definitely potential here. Unfortunately, I wouldn't say that Square Enix realized it, but with a new casual difficulty, that definitely does add a little bit of interest from me to this game and continuing it. And that's going to conclude this video. Again, Caravan Stories, a brand new free MMORPG, will be coming to the PlayStation 4 this July, so get excited for that. The Castlevania Anniversary Collection will be dropping May 16th. We've detailed all the games that'll be a part of that, and best of all, it'll be at the price of $19.99. Unfortunately, for those of you enjoying The Division 2, the first raid has been delayed until sometime in May. Hopefully, it's early May, but nonetheless, we don't know at this point. And Left Alive is introducing a new casual difficulty. Does that give you any interest in the game? Let us know. That's going to conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.